Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of our Halloweek Spooktacular. We sure hope you're enjoying it so far. Today, we're doing something a little different this time around. After all, this episode is what's leading up to our big Spooktacular finale tomorrow.
Man, I am so freaking excited!
Yes. And hey, we hope you don't lose your heads over it. I'm Kate.
I'm not.
And this
is Wading into the Void.
If you weren't able to put that one together, or you thought I was going to be talking about nearly headless Nick from Harry Potter, don't worry. I'm not going to make you wait for it. All of us are joining in on the headless hunt this time around, because today we're diving into the legends and myths of the Headless Horseman. But before we gallop off, I'm going to let Nat do her quick oracle pull, so go for it, lady. Tell us what you've got.
Okay. I had the biggest brain fart ever. So, we, of course, are doing the Holocorn Orc. Holocorn Orc. What does that even mean?
Holocorn Orc.
That's like a unicorn,
like or something.
Orc.
I don't know.
It's like,
it's a narwhal.
it's a centaur, but with an orc upper body with a giant horn. Holocorn Orc.
So stupid.
Okay, we are doing the Halloween. Yes, it is stupid. We are doing the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. Of course, we've been doing this for the entire month because it's a Halloween Oracle. You got to do it. Okay. So, the card for today is so freaking cool looking. You're going to love this, Katie. So, the card we got today. Let me bring my mic a little bit closer. The card we got today is Ghost. And it represents regret. And the little poem says, like smoke rising from the ashes, a mist from the sea. The dead they are watching. They have come to haunt me. I love it. All right. So let's see what the ghost card says. The traditional definition of a ghost is the apparition of the spirit or soul of a formerly living being. Ghosts can be both in human form or animal, and even occasionally inanimate objects such as ghostly ships have been reported. The belief in spirits and ghosts is extremely widespread across time and cultures, and different words such as spiritus, wrath, phantom, and shade have been used to refer to them. Ghosts can be both.
Huh?
What?
I want to know who's calling him a fade or whatever.
A shade? I've heard shade before. I'm trying to shout out one of our listener stories. Do you remember that one? The guy who was like, I've been dead for 10 years. They called him a certain type of ghost that is very specific to, like, Southeast America. A haze? No.
Something.
I don't remember. And if somebody can remember, tell us in Discord. Because I don't want to have to listen to the whole episode again. Okay. So, ghosts can be both people that we have known, ancestors, for example, who visit to assist us, or presences that are bound to a particular place because they have found it difficult to let go even after death. The concept of the haunted house, or the cursed place, is the basis for many a creepy ghost story. In fact, the most interesting ghost stories often involve a very angry or destructive spirit coming back to wreak its revenge after death. The Old Norse word for ghost has the same root word as the word fury. It is said that the spirits that cannot let go of this world have a reason for this. Sometimes it's to warn the living, to guide them, but generally it's because they haven't finished their quote-unquote business here on the plane of the living. They have regrets that they wish to resolve. Should the ghost come gliding into your life during divination, it may indicate that you have some regrets to let go of. Holding grudges or regrets is burdensome work, and it weighs us down eventually. By taking actions to free ourselves of these old burdens, we clear the way for more rightful and wise action for the future. We can begin to live again fully if we let go of what was and step into new possibilities.
That was the perfect card for this episode.
I know, you told me, think the dee-da-dee-da.
I think we already said it.
Did you say it? Oh, okay. You were like, think Headless Horseman. Think Headless Horseman. And I was like, I'm freaking thinking, man.
It is time to wade into the man, the myth, the legend of the Headless Horseman.
Yes! Let's go!
Ichabod! This mythical figure is one almost everyone, except maybe a newborn baby, has heard of, and rightfully so.
I was drinking grape juice, I almost just spit it everywhere.
Word of the Headless Horseman has been passed from person to person since the Middle Ages, and of course, is a man on horseback who is searching for his head, or in some cases, vengeance. I say this because legends vary in their accounts of just where this mysterious head is. Some say he carries it in his hand like one would a lantern, while others have him searching for the location where his head rests. There are many iterations of this legend, and that is what we're going to explore.
Ooh, okay,
In
okay.
our premiere episode of our Haunted Forest miniseries, Nat and I discussed a story that sounded eerily similar to the legend of Sleepy Hollow that we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
So, without further ado, let's head back to Germany to discuss in better detail what we began to explore a few weeks ago. In Germany, unsurprisingly, the tale of the Headless Horseman originates from the Grimm brothers, or the Brothers Grimm, as we all know in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
In their version, the Headless Horseman is surprisingly much less aggressive. He actually leans more towards calm and protective energy than anything else. Which is interesting, coming from Germany.
You know, he does kind of give Wattpad vibes. For me, at least.
Natalie's like, I want a fan fiction. I want a fan fiction.
Actually writes a fan fiction of me and a monster, I would actually cry tears of joy. That someone cares enough about that to do something. Oh my god, that would be so funny.
You just need to go down the rabbit hole of, like, your name stories where you just insert yourself.
Oh my god, that should be a stupid mini episode sometime in the future.
Maybe for April
Fool's Day. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Yes! Oh my god. Or all I want for Christmas is a big giant hairy man. Creature. Smile.
So, this Headless Horseman is usually spotted when a hunting horn is heard, which typically signals his arrival. So they're like, da-da-da-da, and here he comes.
Here he comes.
Here he comes to save the day. So, he warns with a slightly cryptic message that they mustn't ride or go out the following day, because if they do, they're destined to die. So, like, if he comes up to you...
Oh, so he's kind of
like the bringer of bad news, but, like, in a good way.
So he's like an actual horseman.
Yeah.
Like death. Like the horseman death.
He's not a warrior in Germany's version. They're just like, he's coming, he's protective, whatever. But for some reason, he is also said to hunt those who commit capital crimes, which sounds lovely to me. He's like, I'm justice.
So he's like an authority protective figure. Yeah, he's like Batman. Batman on a horse with a pumpkin head.
He's the Joker.
Pumpkin Man.
But that's all we really have from Germany. Germany, like, a lot of it's in the Brothers Grimm, and no one really has so much of that origin story published online. It's a lot of hearsay. So that was the most consistent story I could find between, like, the dozen I found. So, that's Germany.
Okay.
For our next look into the Headless Horseman, we are traveling to India. India. In Indian culture, the Headless Horseman is regarded as heroic and as a non-violent spirit. The legend originates from Rajasthan, the biggest state in the country, and is referred to as Jinjar. I tried my best. That's just what this being is referred to as.
Oh, I thought I thought the city was also called another name. I was like, huh?
In India, the Headless Horseman is referred to as Jinjar. In many of the shared tales, the horseman is a prince that lost his head fighting highwaymen and defending his village. So he really is seen as a hero. Some accounts, though, say it's actually a man in the cavalry who lost his head defending the prince. So, a few varying accounts there, you know?
Yeah.
But either way you spin it, they're still nice and kind of...
Yeah, they're still, like, protectors.
Yes. They protect people and will fight, if necessary, from their horse or from the ground. So, they're, like, ready to go. They are not gonna accept you, like, bullying or beating somebody. They're gonna be there, they're gonna be square, and they're ready to fight.
So is this guy a big giant hunk of burning flesh?
Sure.
For my eyes?
If you want. But for those that, you know, still might be a little scared, even from this heroic version of the Headless Horseman, it's reported that you can repel them using powdered indigo dye.
Interesting.
The dye apparently halts their chaotic energy and allows them essentially to find inner peace. So their soul actually, like, gets to rest, and then I'm not sure if it's, like, through Buddhism or something that, like, they're maybe reincarnated again. I'm not quite sure.
Interesting.
You see, the fun part about this podcast is how you can flip like a switch, right?
Yeah.
We just covered, debatably, the friendliest version of the Headless Horseman there is. But we're going to do the opposite now.
Okay.
It's time to switch between the friendliest version of the Headless Horseman there is to the Dullahan from Irish folklore. And the Dullahan is considered to be the most frightening version of this legend across all accounts. Apparently, his origins begin in the 6th century when Christian missionaries banned the worship of Crom Dubh, the Celtic god of fertility. Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe, and it's totally shocking that Christians had to intervene, am I right? It's not like we talked about that earlier. When the worship was banished, the locals turned this god into a terrifying fairy figure that demanded corpses in the form of human sacrifice. Specifically using decapitation.
Okay.
Eventually, the god transitioned from the figurehead of fertility to the Irish version of the Headless Horseman who roams the back roads in rural Ireland collecting the souls of the dead. He's just vibing.
He is
honestly.
literally just vibing. Fucking yoink.
If you spot him, he will be in all black and riding atop a black steed. In some iterations, he drives an all-black coach pulled by 6 black horses. And get this, because this is important. In true badassery, the coach is made out of coffins, gravestones, and bones.
Yo! That's so cool!
And the horses? Well, the horses gallop so fast that their hooves set fire to the shrubs and hedges along the road.
Whoa, wait a minute. So he's not just riding one horse, he has a whole carriage?
In some versions,
Whoa.
yes.
Okay. I have so many ideas that we need some fan art for. And I would love a picture of one of us as a pumpkin queen riding a horse with it rearing up, and we're holding above our head an axe in our hand.
Yes.
And now that I hear about this carriage business, we need both of us as pumpkin queens in the carriage that's fucking blazing hooves and
yes.
fucking
made out of coffins, skulls, gravestones, and
bones.
skulls.
Yes. Yeah. I need both of those in my inbox as soon as possible. Because I would literally cry. That sounds so freaking cool. Because it's kind of there's so many different things in there.
Right?
There's so many different things.
No, I think it's badass. He's like, I'm literally coming to steal your soul.
He's like the Grim Reaper.
In my, like, demon carriage. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different, like, versions of him. Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Like, Protector. He's kind of like a being, like a spiritual being that protects, or spiritual being that takes your soul.
Reaps.
Not kills you, but takes your soul.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No matter what version you hear of this Headless Horseman, he carries a whip made from a human spine in one hand.
What?
And his glowing, decapitated head in the other.
Okay, so for the carriage picture, here's what I want. Anybody listening to the podcast, whenever they hear this episode, I want one of us on the right side, so in the picture, if you're looking head on, it would be like the left side, or if it's like a side view, it'd be like the right side. Okay, ready? I want that person holding the spine whip, like cracking it at our blazing black horses, and
I would love that to be.
And I want the other person to be holding one of our heads, like fucking glowing on the left side, or the right side if we're looking face on. I absolutely fucking need that, and I need me to be wearing fishnets and fucking, like, crotch stomping boots. Like, I want to look badass.
I'll just take leather.
Yeah. That too. Leather, whatever. And obviously big boobas, but, like...
You can skip that on me.
Well...
That's not accurate.
It's accurate for me. So... Oh god, I have this image in my head. I could try to draw it. I'm just not super good at drawing, like, coloring stuff, so... But...
Maybe one day when I have the time.
I would literally cry if somebody made this for us. Like, I would legitimately start live streaming and crying.
You're like...
I'd be like, it's so awesome!
Maybe we'll release that as a merch item in the future if I pull my head out.
Oh, that'd be so sick. As, like, the mark of our first Halloweek, like, spooktacular.
Yeah. Throwback shirt if we do it next year.
I mean, we could do it whenever before the next year. Because it'd be like, hey, remember when we did this awesome thing? Well, now we have merch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have to make Benny in a Barbie car.
Oh my god. Literally, who said
with
that?
A dragon.
Did Ben say something about that? He said he had an idea about a sticker.
However, if you do see him, you won't be seeing for much longer, since he is said to rip out the eyeballs of anyone who spots him.
Oh my god, wait. Sorry, I have another... Okay, anybody who likes writing, like, little fanfics or little stories... Okay, what about a crossover between Headless Horseman and Medusa falling in love? Medusa, they could be, like, serial killer lovers, and he could never fall victim to her turning them to stone because he doesn't have eyes. He's like a spirit. And, like, she is a fucking monster who... I don't know if she even has a soul anymore. But... And then they could give birth to the fucking horse, Pegasus. And, what's his name? Bella... Hang on. It's
Donna?
Pegasus's brother. So, Chrysaor is the guy who was born with Pegasus. So, basically, what's his name? Perseus? Perseus cut off Medusa's head. Out of her fucking neck stump came Pegasus and Chrysaor. Chrysaor was literally just a human. And
Lame.
Pegasus is the flying horse. And Pegasus was tamed by Bellerophon. Bellerophon? I don't remember his name. Or I don't remember how to pronounce it. But yeah, side note. Anyways, but still interesting. Still interesting little tidbit. Because Medusa is headless. She got her head cut off. He's a headless horseman. That's all I'm saying.
It's fate.
All I'm saying.
The worst about this Headless Horseman, though, comes when he stops his steed and calls out a name. He is essentially the harbinger of death. If you hear him call your name, you will be the next to die.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
Now, surprisingly, we have an account from one Reverend John O'Hanlon from 1870 in the book Irish Folklore, Traditions and Superstitions of the Country, which says the Duluhan only acts as an omen of death for rich families in the area.
Sorry. That's kind of funny. What did he say?
In this story, he is on a coach because, according to this story, he drives a carriage instead of, like, riding the horse.
Mm-hmm.
He says it has no sound as it passes by on the road.
Okay.
However, a lot of people tend not to support his account because it fashions him similarly to the Banshee, where she kind of announces death. So they were like, no, not the same thing. No.
Okay, well, why does that matter? I don't know. He's completely different. A Banshee is like way different than that. Banshees scream. He just goes, "Hey, Katie!" and like fucking whips you with his spine.
Shockingly, Ireland's Headless Horseman has one weakness.
Oh?
But you're gonna have to shell out some serious coin to get your hands on it.
Okay.
He is apparently scared of gold.
That...
Why? Who knows?
Oh!
But it sends him fleeing into the dark.
You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense, because what did you just say? This guy said that he only targets rich families. So, of course he's afraid of gold, because that's what rich families have. So it's like, oh, we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful. We need to keep our gold in case the Headless Horseman comes and tries to kill us.
But that, my friends, is Ireland's Headless Horseman. And now, as cool as I think Ireland's version is, I didn't think it would be right to end this mini-sode on anything other than the Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving.
Like, what? This is the best version. Because we really just fucking ran with it. We just ran.
But now I want an Ireland version of it, because that one is like 50 times cooler in my opinion.
Yes. I agree, because you're probably going to talk about it, but isn't the, like, New York version, like, a lot more mundane? It's like, just imagine this fucking demon crazy man in a fucking carriage,
like
cracking his fucking spine whip,
and you know that's got some good noise.
So, like,
if you go to the chiropractor and you're like,
wait, so does he like telepathically communicate with his horses? Because he's holding a head and whipping them. He's not steering. He's not fucking steering. The horses just know where they're going.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He has them well trained.
Yeah. He trained them from, like, little baby spirit horses. Like, literally the size of, like, Polly Pocket animals. Like.
Now, the U.S.'s version, right? Despite originating as a fictional character in the 1820 short story, the Headless Horseman has worked his way into American folklore and legend in the form of literature and films, including the iconic Johnny Depp performance in Tim Burton's 1999 adaptation of Sleepy Hollow.
But also, they had Sleepy Hollow TV show.
I know, and I used to be obsessed with it until they made it weird.
I watched until
I never finished it.
I watched until, like, her sister was a werewolf, and then I was like, that's just too much. I gotta get out of here. Like, when the Horsemen of the Apocalypse started showing up, and then her sister, like, became a fucking werewolf or some shit, and I was like, what?
That's when I stopped, too. I was like, no. I'm like, this isn't it.
I'll probably rewatch it and enjoy it. And watch the whole thing. I used to have
the biggest man crush on whatever his name is that used to
played
Ichabod Crane.
He's a beautiful
If you scroll through my personal Instagram page, which we will not be sharing, if you scroll down far enough, little middle school or high school me posted a man crush Monday because we're aging ourselves today, and it was that man.
So funny. Oh man, I think my man crush Monday was Mr. Bean.
It's unfortunate.
Katie her soul just left her body. Like, he's like Mr. Bean photoshopped into the Avatar guy.
My heart hurts.
I'm fucked up, guys. Anyways, let's continue.
Well, before we get into the legend of Sleepy Hollow, like, really get in, I want to share a quick fun fact. Are you ready?
Yes, my friend just sent me a really strange video.
The mascot for Sleepy Hollow High School is actually the Headless Horseman. And is dubbed America's scariest high school mascot.
Is he really scary? I want to know what he looks like.
Well, I need to know what he looks like now, too.
Hang on. Sleepy Hollow High School mascot.
Yes.
It's just a dude rides on a horse with a pumpkin in his hand.
Yeah, well, it's still a high school, and they have some headless guy riding around on a horse.
It's fucking sick, dude!
I'm sorry, but do you see their, like, football entrance?
Yeah.
It's their football team walking behind this literally headless horseman.
You see this one? Look at this one.
That's the one I'm looking at.
It's so cool. This is the coolest mascot. Fuck the scariest mascot. I mean, yeah, probably. But he's, like, the coolest one. He's so cool. He reminds me of Racer 1 from my very first college that I went to. Our mascot. We had some other mascot. But we had Racer 1, which is somebody rode a horse around the track every time we got a point in football.
Oh, I love it.
So, it's pretty cool. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, but, like, everything in this town is literally themed around frickin' the Headless Horseman, and it's great.
That is awesome.
Now, we're doing it.
Okay.
We're covering our final
Tell me.
story. The legend begins in Sleepy Hollow, New York, during the throes of the American Revolution.
Ooh.
The horseman is recognized as a Hessian?
Haitian?
Hessian?
What is that? How do you...
Hessian. Hessian.
What does that mean?
The horseman is recognized as a Hessian soldier who was killed sometime during the Battle of White Plains on October 28th, 1776. Reportedly, he was decapitated by an American cannonball.
Oh, God! Oh, also, Hessian is just a British soldier. If anybody was wondering.
Despite his comrades carrying his body to safety, the shattered remains of his skull were left on the battlefield. His body was entombed in the cemetery of the Old Dutch Church of Sleepy Hollow. However, he does not rest. Instead, he rises as an angry spirit, furiously searching for his lost head. Apparently, he wields a jack-o'-lantern as a weapon and as a replacement head until he can find his own.
How does he use it as a weapon?
That's why he carries it in his hand. He's gonna smack a bitch with it.
Fucking Rico Nasty, smack a bitch. Thank God I don't have to smack a bitch today. Put a bitch right in her place. Fucking Headless Horseman with his jack-o'-lantern head. Blasting Rico Nasty.
Speaking of, in more modern times, it is said that he rides on Halloween since it's around the time the battle took place. So, maybe, just maybe, you'll spot him in the days to come.
Also, I'm wondering, for our photo shoot, I wonder if we could make it look like we're, like, riding something, holding our heads, and, like, Photoshop us onto a horse.
I mean, if I shot something from the bottom, I could Photoshop your head off easily.
Yeah.
That's so easy.
Like, I know we could do the head.
It'll just look like you have no
I know we
head.
could do the head part, but can I be on a horse and have it look good?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. God damn it. But we should definitely do the no head and axe.
Oh, for sure.
Now I feel like I gotta go buy a fucking skeleton to rip the spine off. Is that fucked up? It's probably fucked up.
I love it, though.
I don't know if I'll be able to get one in time. Anyways, continue.
That's all, folks.
Oh, really?
What did you think of the different legends and origin stories of the Headless Horseman? Let us know.
Okay, so would he be considered a cryptid? Or just like a folklore? In New York.
Folklore, myth, legend, everywhere, essentially. And those are just the countries I covered. There was more.
Yeah.
And I was
Which
just
is
like,
really interesting.
No.
Well, it's actually not as interesting because I was like, oh, well, it's all spread out throughout the world. But then you remember England colonized India and it's like, ah, boo. But
exactly.
But if there are other places where England didn't colonize, that would be really interesting to hear.
Yeah.
But even America was colonized. So literally Revolutionary War, like anyways.
Yeah, anyway. Let us know. You can connect with us and tell us your thoughts on this mythical mystery man in a couple of ways. First, you can join our Discord server and chat with us and like-minded individuals. You may even find yourself a new friend or several. We sure have. You can also find us and join in on the fun by following us on social media. We are on Instagram and TikTok at
Wading into the Void.
And on Twitter
Wade into the Void.
Or if you're feeling so inclined and want to make a monthly donation to the podcast, you can support us on Patreon or Anchor or Spotify by searching Wading Into the Void. As always, please do not feel like you're obligated to do so.
Fucking two
But
times
know that if you
speed.
do contribute,
oh my
we're
god.
so absolutely grateful for you.
Katie's like, she said she had to piss. Let's go. No, I just realized we didn't do an outro for the previous episode.
It's totally fine. They're all back to back. We are grateful for all of you.
So grateful.
Just make sure that doesn't go to your heads. Until tomorrow, Phantom Fam, prepare yourselves for debatably one of the most iconic and well-known true crime cases and haunting cases in the United States.
So fucking excited. This was not a part of our original plan, by the way.
No.
Not at all. We just came up with, Katie just came up with this in the spur of the moment. And I was like, oh my god, everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. The only thing that I hadn't been sure about for our Halloween plan was the one big episode for the week. I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this or that or this or that. And then Katie was like, well, what about this completely different thing? And I was like, oh my god, it makes so much sense. So good.
Yes, and we hope you join us as we take a whack at it. Bye.
Bye.